In this video, I'll break down a placement for a founder who'd basically written off remote talent. He had used offshore staff before, and his take was simple. The talent is copy-paste, it's not that good, and he didn't have a real use for that lower level of talent. Instead, we placed one hire, and 3 years later, she's still there working across multiple departments. I'll walk through why his past experiences failed him, what we did differently, and how to actually make a remote hire last. So some quick context on this client. This client is a HubSpot implementation and sales consulting firm. They work with some very large personal brands in the info and online space. The founder, Aaron, made a video testimonial about his experience. It's about 5 minutes long. I'll link it down below in the description below. And so what he was facing is he was slammed with a bunch of random tasks, calendar, meeting with a lot of execs, big email threads with big clients, all these different complex integrations and complex projects that they're working on. And he needed someone who could actually take some of this stuff off of his plate. He didn't want someone who was copy paste and just not that good. He wanted someone who actually understood what they were doing. So here's what we actually did when we decided to plan out this role and how to hire for it. And this is why it worked versus his past experiences where they let him down. On paper, the role looked like an EA, but what he actually needed was a little bit more of a generalist, a project manager type who could just plug holes across the business wherever they came up. Not someone super specialized, but someone who's a little bit more of a generalist. Aaron also didn't want to sink a bunch of time into training and setup for this person, and that was half the reason that he decided he didn't want to do remote talent at first. So we did that part for him. We sat him down, we documented the processes, and built the SOPs so this hire could just step in and ramp up with minimal training. Because the reality is a lot of offshore hires end up failing because they have no systems, they have no clarity, they're just dropped into an environment that they're not familiar with. And so of course they just end up copy pasting. We gave him the structure to actually succeed in this. We gave him all those SOPs and they ended up getting placed and used over 150 times in his company. And then on the geography side of things, we decided to choose Argentina because it works for the time zone. She'd be working alongside his team during the day. And over the 3 years she's been there, she's grown into a lot. She started as kind of this generalist kind of EA type. She works inside of HubSpot, handles sales follow-ups, manages chatbots, helps general operations, a whole laundry list of different things. We put someone in there who was versatile, who could handle those different elements and grow as time went on. So she had this feedback of positive growth, working hard, positive growth, reward, etc. And what happened is she was able to stay there for a very long time, and she's still working there today. A lot of times what happens is people just put someone into an EA role or an operations role, and there's no growth, there's no new stimulus. It's just copy paste, do this exact same SOP every day, and that doesn't help with growth and retention with staff. So we set it up in a way that she was able to, because of her skills, interface over multiple departments, do different things each day. And so when we look at the numbers, we had one hire, it was filled under 3 weeks from start to finish, and we saved about $45K a year for Aaron versus a US equivalent. And beyond the savings, Aaron really got what he needed. He needed someone he could count on, a bit of a chameleon who could plug the holes and take on different work as it comes up. Someone who has been with him for 3 years. So if you're trying to grow your business and maybe you had a bad experience with VAs or offshore staff in the past, instead you might need a reliable generalist who can plug the holes across your business. And this is exactly what we do. We're going to find the person who fits, we'll build the system so that they succeed. We've done this over 400 times, and the link is below in the description of this video if you want to book a call, and we'll be able to map out this whole process, specifically how it fits to you and your business.